Hi, I'm Shannon Wickel, founder of Speedy Grid. I became a gym owner about 5 years ago and did rotations just like everybody else did on the grid, moving things around, taking hours upon hours to figure out how I could make all of my students fit into the gym during one evening and get them the quality instruction that they were desiring to have and that I wanted them to have. Speedy Grid was born out of a conversation that I had with a client of mine in my gym. I knew that he had IT development experience, so I decided to ask him if he could help me design a program that would take my hours of work that I spend trying to create rotations and simplify it into a computer program. He and I spent several hours discussing how this would work, and after several months of planning and working and trying and retrying, Speedy Grid came to what it is today. I am pleased with the product. I hope that you will love it as much as I do and that it will make your life as easy as mine has as a gym owner, where I can now spend more time with my kids and less time in the office.
Hi, everybody. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Hannah. I'm one of the co-founders and co-owners of GymSoft. I know normally I say Speedy Grid, but GymSoft is actually the parent company of Speedy Grid, and we are releasing a couple new products. So I want to try to get in the habit of saying GymSoft. So welcome. I know some of you guys here are on the fence of Speedy Grid, or you're brand new to Speedy Grid and you have a couple questions. If there's any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to put them in the chat. If I can't get it to them through the webinar, I will definitely get to them at the end, or I'll email you guys. So I hope to stay within about 30 minutes. For those of you guys, I know Fridays are very, very busy, especially if you're a gym owner, you have lots to do. So if you can just give me 25 to 30 minutes. So just real quickly, what we're going to kind of go over today, the time blocks, how to import and manage your classes, the different types of equipment. That's kind of where a lot of people get stumped, thinking outside the box. Assigning your equipment to classes, that is, I guess, the big portion of setting up your Speedy Grid. But once you do it once, you never have to do it again, so that's great. And then just building your master grids, your schedules, printing them. And then I will have time for questions at the end, but don't think you have to wait. If you have a question, send it to me now or send it to me at any point and I will talk about right then and there. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna come here. So once you first, actually, let me do it to where you can see my face, because sometimes I feel like it's best to do that. So if you're new to Speedy Grid, or if you're already a client, you'll log into your account, to your dashboard. And now please know this is my dummy account that I use for webinars, so there are some things that aren't perfect, so bear with me. So first is the time blocks. Whenever you first create your account, it's going to ask you to pick a time block, but you can change that at any time by going to settings and account settings. And right down here, you see you can choose 5, 10, 15, or 30. If you use this program for rec, preschool, and JO, I highly recommend the 5 or 10 minutes. That way you have more freedom in how long a class spends somewhere. For the purposes of this, my account is set up in 5 minutes because I have some 45-minute classes ranging all the way up to 4 or 5 hour classes. If you're using this mainly for your competitive team, then I do recommend that 30 minutes because you aren't going to really have rotations smaller than that. But once you pick that, make sure you push save right here and then you're good to go. All right. Next is, whoops, so sorry guys. I don't know what I did. Here we go. All right, so next we are going to hop right into importing classes. So back on your dashboard, we're going to go manage classes. And then we're going to import. Once you click import, I do want to mention that it is only going to pull classes that are active on your website. So I know a lot of gyms don't activate their competitive or their developmental team on their website. So there are two ways around that. We can either activate them quickly, import, and then deactivate them, or we can manually import them later. But I do want to mention that because a lot of people get frustrated that not all their classes imported, and that is usually the reason why. It's because it's not active for web registration. Once you click import, we do seamlessly import from Jackrabbit, iClass Pro, and Amelia. Pick one, put your organization ID in there. If you're not sure what that is, reach out to us, or you can contact your classroom management system. If you do have a different classroom management system that has web-based registration, please email me at support@speedygrid.com and I can work with you on getting those imported. If you do not have web-based registration and you're still on Blue Cards or Excel or something like that, still email me. We do have a way of getting your classes in. We'll take a little work on my part, but I will get them in for you. Now, I know iClass Pro and Amelia have multi-locations, so if you are one of those fantastic gyms that have 2, 3, or 4 locations, once you click it, it will ask you which location you want to import and go from there. There also is, let me see. Oh, this is different. I don't know my organization ID, sorry. Once you pop them up, I can't show you a pop-up, unfortunately. It's going to ask you if you want to import all, or you can click which ones you want to import. If for some reason you add classes later, you can import again, and it's going to say, hey, these classes are already here. Do you want to skip or override them? But once you do that, they will all pop up. If you go back to edit classes, they're going to automatically pop up here. Whatever's in your classroom management system, it's going to pull the name, it's going to pull the day, the time, and if you have coaches assigned in your system, it's going to pull those as well right here. But it pulls everything automatically. Now let's say you want to add a class manually, like if you're saying, I want to add a new class starting next week because this one's full. You can go class actions, add class. We're going to call it example with 2 E's because I already have one called example. And it's going to do it right then and there. The unfortunate thing is if you do them manually, there is a little work to it. So you can change the name, abbreviation, but you will have to come down here and do add days. This class meets on Tuesdays and Fridays. Whoops, I only clicked Tuesday, sorry. And then you have to go back in and change the time. So I want it to be 12 p to 1 p. Boom. And it's going to be just like that. Now, these open blocks, if you remember, I had 5-minute rotations. So this is an hour class. So each one of these open blocks is 5 minutes long, but I will come back to that later to show you how we're going to fill those. I know I don't have equipment. All right. Also on classes, there are a couple other fun things you can do. And you can wait till later when you're actually adding equipment, but I'm going to go ahead and show you now since I'm on the screen. So let's say you have the name as an example, but you have tons of classes and you just want to abbreviate, and I want to call it EXE. You can pick a color. There are 2 ways of doing this. Some gyms do every class that Sally coaches is pink and every one that Patrick coaches is green. Or you can do all my ninjas are going to be red and all my level 1s are blue, all my level 2s are lime green. It's completely up to you. This is just whenever you're on the grid, you can say, all right, my class is purple. I'm going to look for all the purple ones. And then type. This is for a feature that's coming out soon, so you can disregard that for now. We do have some preset types, but you are able to change those. As soon as that new feature is ready to go, I will explain more, but I wanted to go ahead and release that for now. And then priority. So this is saying all priority 1 is going to be scheduled first, and you can actually make some less priority. They all start as 1, but you can do a mass edit and change the priority. So if your preschool is king, you can make all your preschool 1 and all your rec 2 and 3, or vice versa if you want your competitive team to have priority over your recreational. Once you do all that, just make sure you do push save. And all of this is, you can change any of this at any time. It's not set in stone. You have unlimited options. You're not capped at anything. All right, next we're going to go back to dashboard. And now we're going to move on to the equipment. This is where it does get a little tricky. So if you guys have any questions, please stop me, make a comment. So when it comes to equipment, there are 3 different types. We have simple, alias, and equivalents. So simple, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up here. Oh, this is a different page. Sorry, guys. I had a little mind blip moment. So simple, you're first going to put in all your simple equipment. So that's everything that works independently. So for example, this floor, panel 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to put all those in there individually. I could have one class on panel 1, one on panel 2, and one on panel 3 at any time. Then an alias is when you want them to all work together. So let's say I call it the big blue floor, and I want my level 5s to have the whole floor. That's what I'm going to assign them, and it's going to put it all together so no one else can take a separate panel. And then equivalence, that means I want one of the floor panels. I don't care which one, just give me whichever one's available. Using this equivalent feature, that's what gives the program a lot of flexibility that the human mind, or if you're using Excel documents, that really, you just pick one and then when you go back later, you realize you have to move it. So that is the kicker for this program. That's where it does a lot of the rearranging. So first you're gonna come to simple and you can go equipment actions, add equipment, just start adding. It's really quick and easy. So you can see over here, I have big beams, small beams, dance room, floor A, B, C. I mean, I go all the way down. I mean, just anything and everything that works individually, if you're not sure if it's something, go ahead and put it. So like in our gym, when we use this, we have boys area, and we even put pit bar separate because that's also our strap bar. So sometimes we want a class to have that. Sometimes we want ninjas to have that. So just whatever works individually, just go ahead and throw it in there. Next, you're going to come back to your manage equipment. And now we're going to do our alias. So what you're going to do is equipment actions, all equipment. Let's say I did all bars. Once you have all bars, you're going to come over here and you're going to pick and choose what that means. So if I schedule a group all bars, I want them to have, so let's pretend I just got here and it's blank. So these are all your simple equipments that we've already done. So let's say all bars, I want that to include single rails and uneven bars. And then just push save. If you do event coaching, we do it for rec and team. So when team has beam and vault, I know that I need to schedule vault runway, small beams, and big beams. For rec, it's a little different. When we do event coaching, I only need the vault runway and the small beams. So you be creative here. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff on some grids. But yeah, so if you know you want your JOs have floor, but they also have a conditioning side station, or they have a dance complex side station. That could be floor, and then if you have an area next to it, we have a red floor with a blue floor. So we put both of those together for them. Back up to our equipment. Next is the equivalence, and this is where you can really have some fun. So I have any bar, and I have it set. We'll do equipment actions, add equipment the same way. But any bar means they can have single rail or uneven. Any beam, same thing, big or small. Single floor panel. So if this is a class that needs floor and I don't care where it's at, I actually have floor A, B, C. I have my rec floor and I have my vault runway because they can use that too. Technically, I think I might have gotten rid of my, that could also be rod floor. They could do floor on the rod floor if it's a smaller class. And then just make sure you push save. And then same thing with vault. Our young kids, they can do vault or they can use the side stations of the tumble track. We have that set up. Now warm up. I just equipment actions, add equipment, and then I just call it warm up right here. And then make sure you check this little box. That's going to say that it's going to schedule that first. And this is where they can warm up. So I know my kids can warm up vault runway, the tumble track, any of the floors. And this is just going to pick one of them that's available. And so if I want 10 minutes warm up, it's going to pick 10 minutes of one of these areas that's available and put them there first. And that's not going to interfere if I also have tumble track later. It's not going to interfere with that. It keeps this completely separate and it doesn't mix those up at all. All right, so once you get your equipment, this is where you have to think outside the box. What I do the first time is I actually went and sat in the gym on the floor, got a spotting block, sat down, and I just went through and saw everything. And then I had to kind of go back around, and it's a little interesting to watch me, but you do have to think a little differently. All right, back to our dashboard. Now we're going to add our equipment and our rotations to our classes. All right, so we're going to go back to our example one that I had. All right, so let's say this is a recreational class, like beginner, intermediate, they don't need a whole lot. So like I said earlier, each one of these blocks is 5 minutes, and you do this in no order, but I know right off the bat I need 10 minutes of warm up. I know that this is the beginner class. I just want them to have small beams for 10 minutes. That's all you really need for a beginner class. I know I want them to have single rails for 15 because bar is very important. Vault's a little difficult at a young age, so I might do tumble track, and I might just do like 10 minutes because then I can also do conditioning if we don't really need it. And then I just want any floor panel, single floor panel. I know I want that for 15 minutes. That may not be the order I really want it in. It doesn't, you don't have to do it in any order. If you accidentally, let's say I was doing tumble track and I accidentally clicked it a few too many times, just click it, it goes away, add it right back. You don't even have to do it in any order. So if I did one tumble track, couple floor panels, and then I'm like, oh, I still have 5 minutes, and you just pick it. Doesn't have to be together. The program shuffles it all. It's magic, but just make sure you push save at the end. I know a lot of people are worried, oh, I have thousands of classes. I don't want to do this to every single one. Let me save this real quick. Not that it really matters. It's just an example. There are a couple ways around that I have thousands of classes. You can clone a class. For equipment, you can actually copy equipment to, copy equipment from. So if you have this same class that meets another day, you can do that as well. On my Speedy Grid, I don't know if I have it set up. So like I have the class, the day, and the time. And I think in gymnastics, do I? Some of them. What's going on? So team level 6 through 9. You can see here I've got multiple days, so I was able just to copy and go, so that way I can say Monday I want them on beam most of the time, so on Wednesday we're gonna hit bars most of the time instead. So that way you're not having 20 of the same class over here. You can combine them under one tab, but there are those editing features, copy to, copy from, and then as well as the mass edit and mass delete. If for some reason you're really confused, my email is hannah@speedygrid.com, and I can definitely walk you through this. There are some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that I'll be happy to share with you. But for time purposes, I know you guys are really busy. I know it's into season. There's still a couple regionals out there, so I want to get through this for you guys. But we're going to go back to our dashboard. So once you get all your equipment in, once you get all your classes assigned, the next thing is actually making the schedule. So we're going to go to Manage Schedules. And then I want to quickly touch on what the difference is between Master Grid and View Schedule. Master Grid is where all your templates are going to live. So if you're going to have a spring session, a winter session, or July, however you're going to do it, you want them to live in the Master Grid. This is where you're going to edit. They're going to live here. You can copy from. The View Schedule, it's just going to pull whichever session you're in, and that way you can actually see what's going on, see your analytics. But I don't recommend making any changes under View Schedule because it's not going to save back to your Master Grid. If for some reason you get mixed up and you create the perfect schedule under View Schedule, shoot me an email. I'll go in the back, I'll copy it and put it over in Master Grid for you. Please don't do that. But if for some reason it does happen, just let me know and I can work with you. So you're going to go to Master Grid, Grid Actions, Add New Master Grid. Let's say it is Summer Example, because I want this to be my summer one. You can do sessions. You can do Bring a Friend Week if you have a week at camp and you just want to mix things up. However you want to do it, it's unlimited in how many you have. And you can, if you really don't like it, you can delete it, you can copy it. I mean, there is no limit to what you can do. we try not to cap you guys. So we're gonna go here. So with a summer example, I can have one every day of the week. So you're just gonna do one, and then when you get finished, come back and do the next one. So the first one is Monday. Oh, I do want to go back and show you guys one thing real quick. I'm sorry if I'm running you in circles, my apologies. So you see here that this one says webinar, or not webinar, webinar default. That just means I have this little box right here checked. When it's default, that means that's the schedule I'm working off of right now, and that's what's going to pull to my daily schedules automatically. So let's say I'm working off of summer. I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize. Our team banquets tonight, so I'm trying to make sure we have everything squared away. So let's say if it's summer right now, and that's the one I want to work with, I'm going to make sure this is my default. You can only have one default, so it is just going to change that over real quick. But make sure that whichever one you're working with, that's what it will. Maybe you have to uncheck this. There we go. All right. So that's a big thing. That is what's going to pull. So right now we're going to go back to Monday. We're going to edit that real quickly. When you first come in, it's going to be blank. So just grid actions, generate new master grid. Watch how quickly this happens. Boom, it's done. All right, so as you can see across the top, well, if you scroll down, you'll actually see the classes, but I'm not going to do that yet. So if you see across the top, it's going to have your equipment. So you have here, this is going to be all your single. You're not going to see your alias and your equivalents, but it is going to be on the grid. It's just going to, I'll show you how it looks. You can rearrange these how you want under your settings. But quickly up top, this sea of red, don't be alarmed. All this means is the program cannot schedule it as perfectly as it would have liked. But remember, each one of these is 5 minutes. So it's just saying level 5 didn't get a beam rotation, Excel bronze didn't get a vault, and silver stars didn't get bars. That's all it's saying. That's 3 rotations, not that big a deal. We can definitely find it. So just remember that each one's 5 minutes here. But once we scroll down, you will see, I'm going to get a little lower. It has all my classes here. All right, so 4:30. So as you can see, it has all my classes here. I can see here, oh, superstars. I probably made a mistake when I was putting my equipment in for classes. You can just drag and drop it over. The cool thing about this is that it will not let you schedule on top of another class. It's going to tell you it's already taken. And it also won't let you schedule outside of the parameters of the class. So it's very foolproof. So if I want to pull up here, it's going to say that class doesn't meet at that time. But then all you have to do is you have to just look around, make sure you like it. If there's something you don't like, drag and drop it. Once you do that, just work on getting your sea of red up here taken care of. Same thing, drag and drop. When you do drag and drop, it's going to stay blue. So that way you know that that's something new you're working with. It is going to save automatically as well. Whenever you refresh the grid, it will convert to the correct colors. This is just a kind of a safety feature so you know what you're working with. And then to delete, you'll just double click and delete. I'm not going to go through and fix all this. So when we actually go to the schedule, please remember that sea red is still up there. Once you get your master grids done and you go back and you do all the days, we're going to go back to our dashboard, manage schedules. And now we're going to go to our view schedule. Pick a day. I was working on Monday, so I'm going to show you that. All right. So there are 2 ways of looking at it. The first one is the grid. Now remember, it pulls automatically, so that sea of red is still there. You can go down and still check out your grid. You can see my classes are there. And you can actually go to schedule actions and print. If you are to print this grid, I do recommend doing it in landscape mode, so that way you can see all of your equipments across the top. And then we just tape ours together and hang it on the wall. That way, if there's a sub or if somebody needs an extra space, they can go over and see what's available. We also have it to where coaches can write on it, making recommendations of changes they want. Another way of looking at it is you go up here, view by class, and then you'll see it just like this. So come down here, comments 430, you'll see they have tumble track, that's the warm up, and they go to bars, then beam, and then vault, and so forth. It's gonna do this for every single class. You can also switch back and forth to make sure, all right, I like this, I don't like this, here's a hole, like if it's empty, that means there's a hole there, and so forth. Come up here, oh, I'm gonna show you, so you can see a hole there. Like I said, this account's been played with quite a bit. I am gonna quickly go to the bottom, my apologies. Okay, so right here, this class, if they have the whole floor, it's gonna say floor A, floor B, and floor C. So it will tell you everything that they have. Same thing, they have vault, runway, and tumble track. I'm gonna go back up to the top real quick. Sorry if that makes you guys a little uneasy. Now to print this, same thing, schedule actions print. And I do recommend printing this one in portrait mode. This one, it's really cool. It's gonna print one class per page. So when a new class starts, it's gonna break and go to another page. We actually print these out and attach them to the back of our rosters for coaches. So they have their roster and they have their schedule. If someone comes in and they're a sub, if you have coaches assigned to classes in here, right here where it says comments 430, it's going to have the coach listed right here under the time or beside the time. So not all subs know what classes they're subbing. They may only know the coach that they're helping out. So that's a cool feature. I think that's about it as far as scheduling. I have a couple minutes left. Please remember to ask questions. In the meantime, I did just want to take you back to dashboard. If you guys have any questions or issues, there are how-to videos here and there are analytics. There are several other features to Speedy Grid. I just can't get through all of them. I wanted to quickly show you how to set up your account. But analytics, it shows you the overall breakdown of what's being used in your gym. You use that for rent purposes, P&L, but you can also do a breakdown by class. Not too far. So you can say, my optionals didn't do too hot at this last meet, and we're heading in, well, we already had state, I guess we're going into regionals now. Let's do for the month of March. You can look at this and see how much time they're spending on each event. Use this in your team packet to give to parents. Say this is what we expect of them. You can say, all right, they're kind of doing they're not doing too well on vault. Well, they can say, we're spending only 12% of our practice time on vault. If that's a whole event, that needs to be, closer to 20. You can definitely look at it that way. Or if you guys do department P&Ls, you can use it that way. Or if somebody's wanting a new piece of equipment, you can say, hey, we spend a lot of time on our floors. Maybe we need to invest more money into that. And we don't really use our rod floor much. Maybe get rid of the rod floor or add another trampoline. There are many, many ways of looking at this. But I'm going to go ahead and hop off this and go to the closing because I am cutting close on time. And I know all of you guys are super busy. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm here every Friday. Again, my email is Hannah, HANNAH, @speedygrid.com, or you can reach out to support@speedygrid.com. I'll be happy to walk through anything with you, even if you think it's a dumb question. It usually is not. I can help you guys through it pretty quickly, but I'm here to help you guys if you guys have any questions, or if you're on the fence and you're just unsure about it. If you need any help with anything, just let me know. But I'll stick around for a few minutes, and I'll be here.